Welcome, my dear students. In the last class, we have learned about decision making, branching, and decision making looping statements. So, let us see what the decision making and branching and the decision making and looping statements. Right? You have learned about simple if else if statements, else if ladder, as well as nested if else statements. Right? All these are the statements execute based on condition, based on decisions. Got it? Yes. And next you have learned about switch case statement. By using this switch case statement, among the several alternatives, you are picking only one process, right? So it is essential. We require so many things, right? So we can't choose more than one course at a time, isn't it? So in the same sense, among the several course, we can pick only one course by using switch case statement. So these are very helpful when we are developing a software. And next our topic is a conditional operator. This conditional operator is also acting as an alternative of nested if-else statement. The conditional operator is also called as ternary operator, right? So next you have learned some of jump case statements. Your break, sorry, go to statement as well as a break statement and continue statements are jump case statements. By using this, you are transferring your control from one location to another location, and you are terminating your program execution based on condition by using your break statement. And sometimes it is necessary to skip some of the portion of your program. To do that, then you are using continue statements, right? So these are the decision making statements as well as jump case statements. Now we are also learned decision making and looping statements. Okay, in the decision making and looping, these looping statements are necessary. Sometimes we require a repeated statement must be executed for a periodic of certain conditions. Got it? So where we are using those, for example, in your CD player or in your mobiles, if you like your songs, you will repeat that song until unless you become bored, right? Likewise, you have learned these some of looping statements, though they are while statements, do while loop statements, as well as for loop statements. While and for loop is an entry control looping statements, and do while loop is an exit control looping statements. And also in the last class we have learned about the nested loops, nested for loop. So this nested for loop is also one of a very important topic, where you are going to representing your data in the form of rows and columns, right? Also we have learned so many questions, and we have seen how to execute those programs and how to develop the logic for that programs. And next we are moving to the chapter 8. This is also very important topic. Now our next topic is an arrays. Okay, so by using till now you are using the variables. By using that variables, it is having its own limitations. So then why we are using these arrays? Please observe here the introduction. So far we have used only fundamental types, namely char, int, float and double, and variation of int and double. Although these types are very useful, they are constrained by the fact that a variable of this type can store only one value at a given time. Therefore, they can be used only to handle limited amounts of data. Whatever the primitive data type, whatever the fundamental data type, whatever the instant data type you are using, it can store only one data at a time. So it can be handled only limited amount of data. So if you want to handle a huge amount of data, if you want to handle a huge amount of data, then for reading and processing and printing, then these fundamental data are not sufficient. Okay, to process such a large amount of data. So to process such large amount of data, we need powerful data type that would facilitate efficient storing, accessing and manipulation of data items. So if I want to process a huge amount of data, then I have to use this arrays concept. Okay, so for example, to understanding this concept, let me take one simple example. You are identifying. Okay, I am taking a new notepad. For example, if I want to calculate 10 student information of total and average, 10 student information of total and average for each student. Please observe, in your class you are having 30 students, right? For 30 students in your PUC you are having 6 subjects. Got it? Yes, in your PUC you are having 6 subjects. For each subject I require one variable. For each student, how many variables are required? For 30 into 6, 180 variables I have to supposed to declare. Got it? How many variables? 180 variables. Please observe carefully. 180 variables. For example, in your PUC you are having 6 subjects, right? For each subject I have to declare a variable, right? After declaring the variable, for one student to calculate the total, please observe here, for one student to calculate total and average. Now calculate total and average. How many variables are required? How many variables are needed? Variables needed? Yes. Can anybody guess? Yes. So for one student 6 subjects means 6 variable. Okay, 6 variable and total and average. So total of 7 variables are required. Sorry, total of 9 variables are required. Okay, so 9 variables are required to process this information. Got it? For one student it requires 9 variables. Why? Because you are having not a 9 variables, yet it requires so many variables, but I am considering only your register number. If I consider your class, your name, your everything, then once again it will be increased. Okay, so I am considering only 9 variables. In these 9 variables, 6 variables of 6 subjects and 2 variables of total and average, and another variable is of your register number. Got it? So total we required 9 variable for a single student. For example, let us think in your class you are having 30 students. Then how many variables required to process total and average? Yes, anybody? Any guess? That is 30 into 9, right? So what happens? Let us see. 30 into 9, 270 variables, right? We require 270 variables declarations. Got it? So if a 270 variables is required, then we have to supposed to read all these variables, and we have to read that values, we have to process that values, and we have to store that values. So it will automatically, the program code will be increased. Got it? Clear? So hence to overcome these kinds of a problem, then what I am doing, in the place of increasing the variables, I am going to be taking one concept, that is an arrays. Okay, now let us see what is an array. Yes, so as we have discussed related to this, if I want to process our 30 students, we require 270 variables. To overcome this concept, then we are using the concept of an arrays, right? So as you are seeing, what is the complexity of your simple program? It is a simple program, but it becomes a complex if we do in the general manner as we did till now. Okay, so to overcome this, we are using the concept of an arrays. Now let us see what is the definition of an arrays. Okay, an array is a collection of element of similar data type which can be referred by a common variable name. So you can refer this definition also. Okay, now what is an array? An array is a collection of An array is a collection of element of similar data type which can be referred by a common variable name, right? So what is the definition of an array? An array is a collection of element of similar data type. Similar means related to the same data type, okay, which can be referred by a common variable name. So you can refer with a common variable name. So to understanding this arrays concept, we will see the declaration of an array. Okay, if you first we have to see the declaration of an array. Yes, so as we are seeing array definition, right? What is an array? Array is a collection of element of similar data type which can be referred by a common variable name. Then how to identify the array? What is its syntax? I am writing the syntax of an array. Please observe here. It consists of data type followed by the name of the variable. This is the syntax, and followed by square bracket, and it consists of index. Okay, index and followed by the semicolon, right? Here it can be say as index or size. Okay, so this is the syntax. Let me see. I am giving the example. Example is int a of 10, right? So then what happens? A of 10 is an integer array variable. It can store 10 different location, that each location can be identified by with this index value. Okay, right? Suppose if I am declaring int a of 10, so a is a similar data type. I am referring this variable as a array. Let us see what is the definition of an array. An array is a collection of element of similar data type. Similar means same data type. A is the variable name. So if it is consist of a square bracket means then it is treated as an array, and it is representing with the common variable name a, and it is a type of integer. In arrays you can only store integer type as well as a string data type. You are not having any float data type. Okay, you can process integer data type as well as a string data type. Now you are seeing your int is a data type, is the name of the variable, and square bracket. This square bracket is also called as a scripts. One single square bracket is called one script. Okay, and if consist of a two square bracket means two scripts. Okay, so also it consists of either I am saying it as a index or size. Now the value is index value is a size or index. It indicates its size. Whenever you declared int a of 10, automatically I am drawing one table just for your understanding purpose. Okay, I'm taking two variables, sorry, two columns. Let me take, let me hide this. I'm trying. Okay, yes, let me take borders. Here I'm making borders. Yes. Okay, so this location is represented as a of zeroth location. Which location it is? A of zeroth location. This A of zeroth location is pointing here, and this location is A of 1. Okay, take first as the right. Okay, now A of 1. So let me make it as a capital A, don't get confused. Okay, and here it is a size A of 2, A of 2, and it is A of 3, and it is A of 4, and it is A of 5. Okay, A of 5, and so on. A of n minus 1, that is 9. So and so on, it ends with 9. Got it? And so on, it ends with A of 9. Why? Because arrays starts at 0th location and ends at size minus 1. What is the size we are specifying? 10. So 10 minus 1 is 9. So total you can store how many elements? Here I am treating it as an elements. Elements means numbers. How many numbers you can able to store? Only 10 values, because your size is 10. Got it? Yes. So this is a array. Okay, so how many elements? In A of 0th location you can store one value, A of 1 location you can store value, right? So likewise you can avoid declaring of this much of a variable for your program with one single variable. Got it? For example, if I want to do the same program, I will declare like this: int reg number. Reg number of how many student I have stored? 30. Got it? So let it make it as a int. All it is a integer, right? Int reg number, comma, next subject 1 of 30, comma, subject 2 of 30, comma, right? Likewise I can avoid that much of a variable by simply mentioning one single variable with representing n number of locations. So this is the concept of your arrays. By using this, you are storing different locations. In different location you are storing different values of same data type. Okay, same relevant data type. So that is the concept of an arrays. Clear? Yes. So here we are declaring int a as equal to a of 20. Then what does it means? A indicates the name of a array, and square bracket indicates one dimensional. It is one dimensional array. Okay, why? It is consist of one script. It is one scripted array. So one scripted array is said as one dimensional array. Here you have declared the size as 20. It starts at 0 index value. It is treated as the size or index. It starts at 0 and ends at n minus 1. Array size minus 1. What is the array size? 20. 20 minus 1, 19. Okay, how many elements you can store? You can store total 20 elements. Okay, clear? Yes. So you can write the definition here also given. Please observe here: array is a group of related data items that share a common name. So the same meaning it will come. Okay, individual element of array is known as element of array. Whatever the value you are storing in an array, here you have not stored the values, right? You are taking the location of the values. Okay, yes. Now we will see one dimensional array or single subscripted array. So this is the above example is the best example of one dimensional arrays, right? So let us see. One dimensional array store list of values. Okay, yes. an array with only one subscript. What do you mean by subscript? Subscript means square bracket. How many subscripts are exist? One subscript, one square bracket. If it consists of one subscript, then it is called as single subscripted variable or one dimensional array. Okay, so here we have declared the size of array variable is 5. It starts at 0 and ends at n minus 1. Suppose if I take it as an x, let us see, not as an a, I'm mentioning a x because my here it is consisting of int space x. Okay, x of 5. So automatically in memory, in your memory space, it create 5 different location for the holding different values. Okay, in x of 0th location you will store one value, in x of 1 location you are storing one value, x of 2 location you are storing one value, x of 3 location you are storing one value, x of 4 location you are storing one value. Got it? Yes. Now you will see how to read and store elements in a elements means values. Okay, don't get confused. Here the values are treated as an elements. Okay, yes, if you want to read of print array elements, then you can do like this. Suppose I want to read a value from the keyboard and store in this location. I want to read a value from the keyboard and to store. So to read a value from the keyboard, which statement we are using? Scanf. Okay, scanf %d. Here what I am doing? Ampersand x of 0. What does it means? Whatever the value you are reading from the keyboard, it will be stored in this location. Okay, then what does it mean? Scanf %d ampersand x of 1. Whatever the value you are reading from the keyboard, where you are storing? In this location. Clear? And suppose after storing this, you have to display that value. Which statement you are using? Which function you are using? Printf function, right? While displaying, you are using printf function %d. %d indicates your control string, that is nothing but an integer, right? Integer value. Whatever the value you have stored in this location, whatever the value you have stored in this location will be displayed. And one more thing, if you are using the arrays concept, means definitely you are going to be using a looping statement. Definitely a for loop will exist. Okay, if you are using arrays, means you are using for loop. You just keep a mind, right? Let us see. For example, here when process is taken, one condition is given, please observe according to this condition what it will happen. Yes, anybody can? Yes, I am copying for your understanding purpose only. Okay, and I am taking here. Yes, I am pasting here, right? Just understand a situation. Don't have any logics. I do not have any logics. According to this logic, what we are doing. Okay, yes, I'm writing one for loop. What is this for loop? For I is equal to 0 means you have declared two variables. What are the two variables you have declared? Here it is showing as x of I, right? So what are the variables we have to supposed to declare? Now let us understand what are the variables we have to supposed to declare. Int, right? Why? I have already told float is not possible. Int I comma x of 5. Okay, x of 5. Clear? Yes. Why I am saying it is a x of 5? Because here you have given the condition as 5 times, right? So that is why it is treated. Here I is the normal variable. But x of 5 is the array variable. Okay, yes, because it consists of square brackets and its size, right? It is a type of integer, right? Yes. Now according to this scenario, what we are doing, you just understand here, right? For I is equal to 0, I less than 5, condition true. If the condition is true, it is entering into the block, right? Here it will come scanf. Scanf means what we have to do? We have to read a value from the keyboard, and after reading that value, where we have to supposed to store? In this location. What is this location? X of 0. Okay, so now I am reading a value for better understanding, let me take tables. I'm taking two tables. It is having 324 where right. Let me make auto fit to content. Now you are seeing here and here. Okay, let me modify this for our understanding purpose. What we have to supposed to do? Remove the borders. No border. Okay, here once again we have to select and place the border. Right. Okay. Yes. Now let us see what it will happen. So what is the array variable we have declared? X of 5, right? So I'm giving it as the x of 0th location. As I know, it starts at 0 and where it ends? It will ends at x of 4, right? X of 2 location, x of 3 location, x of 4 location. Got it? Yes. Clear? Okay. Clear? So whenever you declare the variable like this in memory, automatically it will create 5 different locations, and for this is also it creates some memory. Okay, it will consume 2 bytes, and here it consumes for each element as a 2 byte. Okay, yes. Now for I is equal to 0, I less than 5, condition is true, it is entering. Scanf means you have to read the value from the keyboard and store in this location. What is the I value? 0. So this is x of 0 location, right? Whatever the value you are reading from the keyboard, it will be stored in x of 0. Now I have read from the keyboard as a 10, that 10 will be stored in x of 0. After reading that, what you are doing? You are displaying that value. So which value will be displayed? X of 0 value. So x of 0, what is the value it consists of? It consists of 10. Got it? So afterwards where it will comes? It will comes to the I incrementation. Now what is the new value of I? 1. 1 less than 5, condition true. Once again it comes to the loop, right, block and scanf. What is the purpose of scanf? We have to enter a value from the keyboard and store in that location. From the keyboard I am giving it as a 20, right? So where it will store? X of I. What is I value? 1, right? In x of 1 location it will store, right? Afterwards what you are doing? You are displaying, right? Printf is the output statement, right? You are displaying that it will display as 20, because x of 1 location, in x of 1 location which value exists? 20. So 20 you are displaying. Got it? And next where the control will go? Control will go to the I incrementation. I incrementation means 1 plus plus, it becomes 2. Now the new value is 2. 2 less than 5, condition true, it will enter. So scanf means we have to read a value from the keyboard and store in this location. Which location? X of 2. So in x of 2 I am entering the value from the keyboard as a 30. It will store in x of 2. Next, what immediately you are doing? You are displaying that content, right? Which location value you are displaying? X of 2 location value. What is the value of x of 2? That is 30. So 30 will be displayed. Afterwards where the control will go? Control will go to the I incrementation. Now I becomes 3. Earlier it is 2, right? 2 plus plus means 3. Now the new value is 3. 3 less than 5, condition true, it will enter. It is asking for the value to read from the keyboard. So I am entering the value as a 40. It will store in x of 3 location. Got it? And next you are displaying. So x of 3 location consists of 40. And next you are incrementing the value. Now the new value is 4. 4 less than 5, condition true. If the condition is true, it will enter into the loop. After loop, what it will ask? We have to read the value from the keyboard. So if you read the value from the keyboard, then which value will be stored? In the x of 4. X of 4 location, which value? Whatever the value you are giving from the keyboard, right? I am giving from the keyboard as 50. That 50 will be stored in this x of 4. and next you are displaying. Printf means you are displaying. So which location value you are displaying? X of 4 location. What is x of 4 location value? It is 50, right? Once again I value will be incremented. Now 4 plus plus 4 plus plus means 5. 5 less than 5, condition false. Got it? 5 less than 5, condition false. Then it comes here and terminates. Clear? So likewise your arrays programs are executed. Okay, so now I want to perform total and average marks. So already I did here. Please observe here, in the last we have taken this the same thing, right? Now I want to calculate the total of these 5 subjects. So to do that, then what I have to supposed to do? I have to initialize the total value as the first 0, and while reading you have to process here. You have to process here itself only. Okay, I'm giving here total is equal to total plus x of I. X of I. Where is x? X of I. For the first time, what it will store? For the first time, if it is 0, x of 0. X of 0 location value is 10. 0 plus 10, in total it will store as 10. Right? I'm taking here. Yes. In total first time, I'm taking total here. Total first time it will take as 0 plus 10, that is 10. Okay, after the I value is incremented, now how it will happens? Total is equal to 10 plus x of 1. X of 1 location value, it consists of 20, right? 10 plus 20 it will store. 20 plus 30, sorry, 10 plus 20 30, 30 plus 30 60, 60 plus 40 100, 100 plus 50 150. Okay, so here it has done the same thing. You just observe here. You can perform the calculation also by using the subscript. Okay, so how you are doing? Total is equal to x of 0 plus x of 1 plus x of 2 plus x of 3 plus and x of 4. If you process like this, whatever the value you have stored in this location, it will be added with this location values, and final value will be stored in this total. Okay, so here it has given 5 10 15 20 25. So if you calculate the total, then what happens? 5 plus 10 15, 15 plus 15 30, 30 plus 20 50, 50 plus 25 75. Got it? The total of these summation of all these values are 75. Okay, yes. Now we will see how to declaration of arrays. Already we have learned how to declare the arrays, right? So we can also declare the float data type, but frequently we are not using. So this is the syntax we have followed for declaration of an arrays. This is the syntax we are using for the declaration of array variables, right? Data type int, sorry, name of the variable followed by int size index, right? So these are the examples we have defined. For example, if you want to store only float data type, if you want to store only float data type, then it will store. Okay, float, I'm giving some b of 10. So you can store 10 different locations with 10 different floating point values. Suppose if you want to store character, then we have to use char name of 10. Okay, so it is a nothing but a character array declaration. So this is a very important topic. Now onwards you are giving, you have to give very important topic. Okay, character array, it is called as a character array variable, also called as strings, string variable. Okay, string variable declarations. Yes, whether it is visible, right? Yes, visible. Got it? Yes. Yes. Likewise you are doing. Okay. Yes. Now declaration of array. Declaration of arrays are exist. We have came to know how to declare the arrays. Here the data type array name size is there. Here float height 10 we have taken. So to store the height of a person or weight of a person, we must be use float data type. For example, if I want to store the percentage of your marks, then average marks, if I have to store the variable as float. Got it? It also start from 0 and ends at n minus 1. N is the size of array minus 1. Okay. So now let us see how to representation of strings using array of the character. We will see how to declare the string array, character array or string array. So already we have learned. Please observe here. In this example we have told this is the character array variable declarations. Here the data types must be char and name of the variable, it may be anything. Name of the variable may be anything and size you are specifying. Okay, whatever the size you are specifying, up to that size only it will store. Now we are representing string using array of characters. So if you want to represent a string, then you have to declare like this. Please observe here, char name of 5. Char name of 5 is there, right? So if you have taken like this, then we have to store 5 values in 5 different location. How the location will be formed? It starts with the name of 0 and ends at name of 4. So here it is graphically representing name of 0 location. I have to store a character. Okay, what is a character? Character variable, please observe here, a letter or a digit or a special symbol. A letter or a digit or a special symbol which are enclosed in single quotation. So here it is enclosed in single quotation, hence it is called a character. W I am storing in the location name of 0. E is the character I am storing in the location name of 1. L is the character I am storing in the location 2, and another L is the character I am storing in the 3. But here you have to understand one more concept. Even if you specify or not specify, character arrays are terminated with null characters. Null means nothing. Even you can specify or not specify, that will be terminated with, that will end with null character. Null means nothing. Okay, so likewise you can declare character array variables. Okay, now let us see initialization of one dimensional arrays. What do you mean by initialization? Assigning the value of the variable at the time of program declaration, right? What do you mean? Setting the value to a variable at the program declaration. Variable declaration is called as initialization, right? So let us see how we can initialize one dimensional array. So we can initialize one dimensional array by using this syntax. This is the syntax we have to supposed to follow. Okay, what is the syntax we are following? It is the following: data type. Okay, data type may be any your return type, integer, float, char, double, and array name, name of the data variable, and here size. Here you have to specify the size. Afterwards you are supposed to use the equal to symbol, and you have to use open curly brace, and here it consists of list of values separated by commas, and that should be end with compulsory semicolon. It must ends within a semicolon. Okay, for example, here int x of 5 I am storing 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So how many values are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 values are separated with separated with commas, right? So then in which location this value 10 has stored, in which location it has stored 20, in which location it has stored 30, and so on. For example, what is the name of a variable here? X. So what is its size? 5. Where the starting point of x, it is x of 0. In x of 0th location, which value you have stored? 10. In x of 1 location, which value you have stored? 20. In x of 2 location, which value you have stored? 30. In x of 3 location, which value you have stored? 40. X of 4 location, which value you have stored? 50. Got it? Likewise, you can initialize the integer array. Now we will see how to initialize the character array. Okay, so to initialize the character array, we must use the data type char and followed by the name of the variable. Here I am taking the name of the variable as a name and its size I am specifying as a 5. Afterwards I am using equal to means you have to assign, right? Afterwards you are using open curly brace. Within the open curly brace you are representing W within a single quotation because it is a character. Afterwards followed by comma and E within a single quotation comma, L within a single quotation comma, L within a single quotation comma, and it is up to you. You can specify or not specify. Automatically your computer editor, so Turbo C++ editor will treat the last character as null character. Okay, it doesn't stores, but it will takes automatically the last character as null character. So you can declare character array, you can initialize the character array in this form as well as like this also. So if you store like this, then we should know what do you mean by string. What do you mean by string? A group of characters, please observe here, a group of characters which are enclosed in double quotation is called as string. So here the well is a group of characters which has been double quoted with double quotation, hence this well is acting as a string. Got it? What is a string? What is a character? Please observe the character. A character means a letter or a digit or a single special symbol which are enclosed in single quote is called as character. And what is a string? A group of characters which are placed in double quotation is called as string, right? Suppose if I did like this, we can also initialize the array without specifying the size. Okay, you can initialize the array element without specifying the size or index. For example, int x of blank I have given, so here we have stored 5 different value. Automatically it will take the size as 5. Automatically it will take the size as 5 because you have initialized 5 different values, so automatically it will assign the size as 5. Got it? Yes. So now please observe here. For example, here you have declared a size as a 5. Okay, you can't store sixth element, sixth value. If you declare the size as 5, you can't store sixth value. Okay, where does the array stores? 0. You can't access the element of x of -1. You can't access the elements of x of -1. You are unable to access x of -1 value also. Okay, because the location is not there, it is a null. Got it? -1 is always empty. Clear? Underflow. Okay, and you can't access this, you can't access out of the bound also. Here the size is specified as a 5. You can access only 5 element, but you can't to store sixth element, or seventh element or eighth element. If you want to store 6, 7, 8 element, you have to increase the size of an array. Clear? So likewise, arrays are having certain drawbacks. There is no any way to initialize selected array elements. There is no any shortcut method to initialize the large number of array elements. So besides this also, we are having certain limitations. You can't access behind its size and besides its size. Got it? Yes. Anyhow, so hope you are understanding this concept. How to declare the character array variable? Char variable name followed by size. You can initialize like this, or it is a string. Character array is called as string. We will learn more on this in the coming next chapter. Okay? Yes. Now we will see sample program. Here some sample programs are exist. Kindly pay more attention on these kinds of programs. Okay, we'll see how it will run. What is the first program? Write a program to initialize a set of number in the array and to display it in a standard output. So what we have to do? We have to store a set of values in an array, and we have to store a set of values in an array, and you have to display the content. Got it? So this is the aim of a program. Let me copy this program and I will explain. Okay, so no, I don't want it. I will explain. Right, let me take notepad. I'm not copying. As you know, what is the aim of our program? What is the aim of our program? Store and display the content of array. Right, store and display the content of array using initialization method. Initialization, right? Okay, that is our aim of a program. Yes, now what we have to do first? We have to write hash include stdio.h. Next, compulsory you have to write hash include tonio.h. Right, now void main. Yes, next we have to declare the variable. I'm declaring int a of 10. I'm just storing 10 and I'm initializing. Okay, I'm initializing 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4 comma 5 comma 6 comma 7 comma 8 comma 9 comma and 10. Right, behind that 10, if I store, what happens? It will give an compile time errors. It will give an error. Right, I can store only 10 elements. Clear? So if I want to process the data, compulsory, if I already told you, if you are using an array means definitely there will be for loops exist. There exists a for loop, right? Int I semicolon clr sco. Now what is the aim of our program? We have to initialize some values to an array and to display. So to do that, we have first declare the array variables and initialize the values in that array variable, and compulsory I am using I is always a counter variable. Next you are using the clear screen. Now you are writing one output statement. What is the output statement? You are displaying the content of an array, right? So I'm displaying content of the array is, okay, slash n. Right, now let us do one for loop. I'm writing one for loop for I is equal to 0, I less than or equal to 9, right? I less than 10. I'm giving it as a I less than 10. Okay, I plus plus. So this must be exist. And now in this, what you are doing? You are printing the content of an array. So right, content of the array where the values are exist. A of percentage d, right? A of a percentage d equal to, I'm giving percentage d double quotation comma I comma a of I. Okay, so if I did like this, I came to know in which location a of 0. A of 0, I'm having value a of 0 value. What is the a of 0 value? 1, right? So likewise it will print. Got it? Yes, afterwards it has to give slash n. I'm using slash n here, and the next I'm closing, and I'm giving the get ch, right, and I'm storing, and now I have to save this file. I'm saving this file. I have to ensure where I have to supposed to save, in your C drive. You have to ensure that turbo C3 bin and give as array1 or array1.c. okay, I'm saving, right? And now let me reduce the size and minimize it. and come to your Turbo C++ editor. So here Turbo C++ editor is appearing. Okay, I'm double clicked. Let me start Turbo C++ and it is opening. And let me open my file. What is the name of the file? Array1.c. Yes, I am refresh function key F5. I'm compiling. Is there any errors? No errors. I am running. After running that, you came to know in which location which values are exist. In which location which values are exist. Right. So to trace that, first observe here. I'm coming here. I'm pressing F7. Your F7. You came to know how it comes here. So first time I use 0, a of 0 equal to percentage d means I am using a of 0 equal to percentage d. That percentage d is of a of I. That a of j location value is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They are only repeating and it is giving the output. Right? Got it? So how long the loop will continues until unless condition false. Clear? Yes. So likewise you are executing your program. Hope you have understand this concept. We will continue in the next class.